My girlfriend has a brother who always appears to be extremely generous whenever we meet. It's either a new designer handbag or the latest model of a phone. Initially, I didn't pay much attention to it, especially since he was present when we went to meet the parents. It wasn't until I accidentally saw a collar in his car. It had written on it, Jasmine, my beloved dog. And Jasmine is my girlfriend's online nickname. The first time I met my girlfriend's brother, as she described, I felt something was off. My girlfriend's family isn't particularly wealthy, just comfortably off. But her brother would always show up with the latest released phone, top-of-the-line version. When he handed it to my girlfriend, he had such a gentle expression on his face. After the gathering, I finally asked my girlfriend about her brother. Your brother seems quite wealthy. My girlfriend paused for a moment and said, not really, it's their boss who treats them well, occasionally giving them some perks. I didn't suspect much and continued, their company seems really good. Which one is it? My girlfriend smiled and looked at me with her almond-shaped eyes. I believe my husband will find a better job than him with his capabilities. I gently touched her head. My girlfriend has always been so understanding. My girlfriend, Lin Xiao Xiao, is definitely at a goddess level. Fair skin, beautiful, long legs, and when she looks at people, her eyes are moist, like a little deer. I was captivated by her eyes. We were still in the same university then. I accidentally bumped into her when I was playing basketball, and she fell in front of me. When she looked up, her eyes met mine. At that moment, I felt they were clean and clear, without any impurities. In just 1 second, I knew I was enchanted. Later, I started to pursue her. My dormitory mates advised me against it. As a campus belle, many had tried to pursue her, so it's pointless to waste effort. I carefully assessed myself. I'm 183 centimeters tall, play basketball often, and have some muscles. I can't be considered a second-generation wealthy, but my family has a bit of money. With some effort, there might be hope. So, with perseverance, I finally won her over in our sophomore year. Now that we've graduated, I'm preparing a grand wedding for her. The day we met her parents, her brother happened to come home too, carrying gifts big and small. He smiled when he saw us at the door and said, I heard you were coming today, so I came to take a look. I felt a bit happy seeing the gifts he brought. After all, being valued by the elder brother-in-law means their family is quite satisfied with me. When we arrived at my girlfriend's house, her parents warmly welcomed us out of the house. But this warmth seemed to be directed more towards the elder brother than me. They eagerly took the gifts from the elder brother's hands, their eyes shining with warmth. Just as I was about to greet them, their expressions changed, seeming very displeased with me. I understand. After all, it's not every day a family meets their future son-in-law for the first time. But even inside the house, they still ignored me. Thankfully, my girlfriend was holding my arm, comforting me softly. They are just a bit picky. Just behave well. Encouraged by my girlfriend, I tried my best to impress. I even noticed there was no meal prepared and thought of going to the kitchen to help. At that moment, my girlfriend's mother waved her hand, pointing me towards the distance. You're not needed here. Go sit outside. Seeing her mother's change in attitude, I happily sat down and chatted with the uncle. His attitude was still quite cold, speaking without a hint of approval. I could understand his mood, so I carefully tried to please him. At that moment, I heard Auntie's voice from the kitchen. Jiming, we're out of green onions. Could you go to the supermarket and buy some? Jiming is my girlfriend's brother. He agreed and headed out with the keys. Seeing him leaving, I quickly followed. I'll go too. He lifted his eyelids to glance at me, then nodded for me to follow. Escaping from the oppressive atmosphere, I instantly breathed a sigh of relief, feeling the air outside was so fresh. Seeing me like this, the elder brother-in-law smiled. What's wrong? Feeling suffocated? I awkwardly smiled in response. Not really. Just don't know what the preferences of uncle and auntie are. It's a bit difficult to get along. It's all right, take it one step at a time, he said, then walked to his car. I froze in my steps. Wait, this Rolls-Royce is limited edition, right? He chuckled and stopped me from getting into the passenger seat. This is my boss's car. When he's not busy, I can drive it. The passenger seat is where he sits with his wife. She's quite picky and doesn't like others sitting there. I nodded in understanding, opened the back door, and sat down. Never seen a pig, but heard of one running. I opened the car door and sat in the back seat. Wasn't it just to buy some green onions? Why do we need to drive? He smiled as he drove the car out of the garage. Since you're here, my mom asked me to buy some good ones. At a red light, he suddenly braked, and something rolled out from under the seat. I glanced down and saw a collar. Oh, the boss is quite playful. I wanted to push it back under the seat when my fingers touched the writing on it. Out of curiosity, I sneakily glanced at it, and it read, Jasmine, my beloved dog. Instantly, a sharp pain struck my chest because Jasmine is my girlfriend's online nickname, which she's been using since college. My thoughts couldn't help but wonder, could it be that my girlfriend and their boss have some private relationship? The elder brother-in-law noticed my discomfort through the rearview mirror. What's wrong? Is there something? I pressed down the item in my hand, shaking my head pretending to be calm. A bottle rolled out just now. I used my phone to take a picture of the words on the collar. The rest of the day, I felt absent-minded, like I had lost my soul. Not even the change in attitude from the uncle and aunt could comfort me. My girlfriend seemed to notice my unease, asking softly several times, "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? I've told my parents not to trouble you. Why do you look a bit pale? Is something happening at work again? If you're busy, I'll let my parents know and we can leave. Why won't you speak? Tell me what's happening." Looking into her gentle eyes, I felt a sense of guilt. Maybe it's just a coincidence? In the years of dating Lin Xiaoxiao, my girlfriend, she has been a perfect lover. Not only tender and gentle, but also excelling academically during school. No matter how you look at it, she couldn't be that kind of person. I suppressed my thoughts and began to earnestly deal with Xiaoxiao's parents. But this incident was like planting a seed, fermenting continuously in my heart. Since that day, I've been consciously or unconsciously observing my girlfriend. But everything she does is too perfect. Nothing makes me uncomfortable. She even voluntarily told me the passwords to all her social media accounts, so I can check anytime I want. The more she does this, the stronger my inner sense of guilt becomes. Until shortly before the wedding, I confessed this bottled-up feeling to the sons of my former dorm mates over drinks. Sometimes I feel like such a scumbag. She treats me so well, yet I have these thoughts. The recent days of turmoil and pain mixed with alcohol all spilled out. But it's like a curse, constantly spinning in my head. Can such a coincidence really happen? My dorm mates, who had been thoroughly investigating Lin Xiaoxiao for years, now fully approved of her. Roommate A was about to comfort me when roommate B interrupted. "Does Lin Xiaoxiao have the nickname Jasmine on all platforms?" I nodded, recalling that I had asked Lin Xiaoxiao why she used this nickname on all platforms. She simply said she liked the jasmine flower, and it also had the meaning of advising against leaving. Because of this, I've given her jasmine flowers many times. My roommate B, Xu Chen, expression changed slightly as he said, "Zhu Qing, what I'm about to say is just a hypothesis. I hope you can stay calm, and we'll solve this together." Hearing this, my heart skipped a beat, and I nervously looked at him. "What do you mean?" Other roommates noticed something was wrong and quickly restrained me, then turned to Xu Chen, saying, "They are about to get married. Don't talk nonsense." Xu Chen frowned. "Precisely because they are getting married, we need to eliminate unstable factors." Saying this, he took out his phone from his pocket, opened a paid app, swiped a couple of times, and opened a profile. Placing it in front of me, I immediately looked at the phone. There was a lewd woman covering her face, with the username, Jasmine, and around her neck, there was exactly that collar, with the clear inscription, "Jasmine, my beloved dog." I felt like I was struck by lightning. Staring at the screen, my whole body stiffened. Standing beside me, roommate A, Jiang Wei, held me up. "Don't overthink it. Maybe it's just a coincidence?" Xu Chen didn't think so. "It's better to investigate thoroughly. If it's a misunderstanding, we can apologize, but if it's not, we can minimize the damage. Otherwise, I believe this will always be a thorn in Zhu Qing's heart." I nodded along. The mental torture I've been going through recently was driving me crazy. If we don't clarify this, I might never be able to convince myself. At this moment, roommate C, Li Yuan, who had been silent, asked, "You've been together for so long, have you?" I knew what he meant and shook my head bitterly. In my eyes, Lin Xiaoxiao has always been the perfect girlfriend. I initially pursued marriage, and I've always respected her in that regard. If what I've seen and speculated is true, then all this respect would seem ridiculous. After calming down a bit, we moved to another place to continue our discussion. Now, the most important thing is to confirm whether the lewd woman on that app is my girlfriend, Lin Xiaoxiao. Secondly, we need to confirm if there's a special relationship between Lin Xiaoxiao and her brother's boss. To avoid alerting anyone, we decided to confront her at her workplace. While we were assigning surveillance time, Xu Chen, who had been silent for a while, suddenly spoke up. "Do you remember we used to surveil Lin Xiaoxiao like this back in college? I had just started pursuing Lin Xiaoxiao back then, and they wanted to prevent me from being blinded by love, so they specifically surveilled Lin Xiaoxiao for any flaws. But after nearly half a month of surveillance, they found nothing. Instead, it changed their perception of Lin Xiaoxiao." Xu Chen continued, "Maybe she knows someone around you guys. How about I hire a private investigator to help you investigate?" I pondered for a moment. "Is that reliable?" Xu Chen nodded. "To be precise, it's one of my uncles who often helps my dad with various matters. He knows a lot of unconventional methods and shouldn't be detected." Xu Chen is a typical second-generation wealthy, usually low-key, but always able to provide the most powerful help at critical moments. As I nodded, my eyes started to feel a bit sore. He immediately handed me an apple. "Bite on it." So I waited anxiously for several days. During this time, I deliberately tried to probe Lin Xiaoxiao. For example, who is the boss of her brother Lin Jiming's company? or if she had ever met their boss. But every time, she brushed it off. She would softly tell me not to worry and that everything would work out as long as I tried hard enough. There was one time I couldn't take it anymore and shouted at her in the street, but she looked surprised and kept comforting me. "Don't shout so loudly. I've told you. I believe you'll be better than everyone else. Do you think I'm just placating you?" She remained calm to the point of being chilling, without a hint of emotion in her voice. In the eyes of passers-by, I was the irrational and emotionally unstable one. Later, when I vented about this in the roommate group, Jiang Wei replied, "Do you know about a psychological phenomenon called gaslighting? The more perfect she seems, the more it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you, leading to self-doubt time and time again." As he said this, I suddenly remembered that although we had been dating for 3 years, we had never had a single argument. Everyone even thought that Lin Xiaoxiao dating me was me getting a big advantage. In daily interactions, I always acted more subservient. Now thinking back, were all these just illusions? I was about to reply when Xu Chen jumped in. "The investigation has yielded results. Meet at the usual place tonight at 8. He mentioned the old place we used to go to during our university days, a bar we hadn't visited in a long time since graduation. The unease in my heart surged again. Why did it have to be this place? When we met in the private room, everyone's faces looked uneasy. Xu Chen didn't mince words. "You need to prepare yourself mentally." I nodded in agreement. Immediately, he pulled out videos and photos. I opened the video with trembling hands. It was a video of Lin Xiaoxiao's brother picking her up after work. In the video, Lin Xiaoxiao practically ran into her brother's arms, her face beaming with uncontained joy. A bitter taste filled my heart. While Lin Xiaoxiao was gentle when we were together, she never laughed or acted out of character. The person I knew was always gentle and stable. It was as if she was the same with or without me. The video continued. Lin Jiming hugged Lin Xiaoxiao, patted her head, and opened the passenger door to let her in. At the end of the video, through the window, you could vaguely see something around Lin Xiaoxiao's neck. They were affectionate, not at all like siblings. I suddenly realized something. Feeling physically ill, are they siblings? Xu Chen interrupted me. Lin Xiaoxiao doesn't have a brother. The man in the video isn't surnamed Lin. I almost couldn't process it. What? He continued. He's a well-known media company owner in our city, specializing in live streaming and occasionally organizing comic conventions. His name is Liu Jiming. As he spoke, I fell silent. Also, my uncle traced their initial relationship. 10 years ago, Liu Jiming established a poverty alleviation project, and the first person he connected with was 14-year-old Lin Xiaoxiao. "What the?" Jiang Wei exclaimed. "Wasn't Lin Xiaoxiao underage at that time?" Xu Chen brought out another document. Liu Jiming married into the family. 10 years ago, he had just started his business and founded the Poverty Alleviation Project. The source of funding has always been his wife. I was gradually becoming numb, gesturing for Xu Chen to continue. He opened another video, from the hotel's front desk surveillance. Although Lin Xiaoxiao tried to hide it, you could still see the collar around her neck. Jiang Wei placed his hand on my shoulder to comfort me. Seeing that I was stable, Xu Chen flipped through the photos one by one. "This hotel has a high level of confidentiality. My uncle bribed the cleaning staff to enter the room after they left." The following photos were somewhat unbearable. The white but messy bed was scattered with toys only used by couples. Even if you hadn't seen it before, you could imagine what happened there. I suddenly burst into laughter. Despite my heart pounding with pain, I had never felt so ridiculous. There was even a hint of sweetness in my throat. Jiang Wei was also stunned. What's this guy's plan? With their relationship and his wealth, why bother provoking our friend Zhu Qing? Li Yuan chimed in, yeah, if they are related and he's so wealthy, why bother Zhu Qing? Xu Chen stared at me, taking out the last photo. In that photo, Liu Jiming held Lin Xiaoxiao in his arms, looking directly at the camera, a faint smirk on his lips. It was as if he was mocking me through the lens and the photo. Worst of all, I think he already knows you're investigating him. He might even know you're here right now. I looked into his eyes in the photo, thinking about the collar that fell from the car. Suddenly, everything made sense. It's not that people turn bad when they have money, but rather, having money gives them the capital to do evil. I wasn't sure what Lin Xiaoxiao was thinking, but I knew exactly what Liu Jiming wanted to do. For some people, inflicting mental torment on others brings them pleasure. And there was my goddess, my treasured girlfriend. If one day I suddenly discovered she was just his dog, my pain would nourish his happiness. With that realization, I exhaled deeply, trying hard to calm myself down. If that's the case, why should I satisfy him? I will break up with Lin Xiaoxiao as soon as possible, and all preparations for the wedding will be put on hold. After understanding all of this, my emotions were surprisingly stable. Jiang Wei, however, said, "We can't let it end like this." I nodded in agreement. It couldn't end like this, regardless of Liu Jiming's intentions. The deliberate concealment and mockery of the two of them made me angry. So I also needed to take some action. Li Yuan suggested from the side, "He's married into the family, right? All the money should be related to his wife. Tell his wife about their affair and see if they divorce or not. I agreed with him, but Xu Chen didn't look too good. Liu Jiming has controlled the funds for many years. Even if his wife divorces him, it won't affect him much. After some thought, I added, but we can disrupt him. All his money comes from marrying into the family. If his wife encounters problems, he won't be able to extricate himself in a short time. And at that time, I could handle my situation with Lin Xiaoxiao and leave promptly. Jiang Wei looked at the information on the table. If the Jasmine on the platform is really Lin Xiaoxiao, can we report him? Xu Chen shook his head. It's difficult. These websites are all based overseas. Without substantial evidence, it's challenging to report successfully. It doesn't have to be a successful report. Isn't he from an entertainment company? As long as he does something, there will be traces left. Disturbing him is what matters. The key is, once reported successfully, it could lead to imprisonment for up to 2 years. Jiang Wei was angry, even considering going directly to confront Liu Jiming. After all, the seemingly perfect Lin Xiaoxiao not only deceived me but also deceived them. I suppressed myself, and after arranging everything, we left the bar. Over the next few days, everyone acted according to the plan. Lin Xiaoxiao clearly felt the change in me. Although her tone remained gentle, there was also impatience and frustration. What's wrong with you lately? Why aren't you talking to me? I looked at her message, took a deep breath, and replied, let's break up. We are not suitable. Why? We're about to get married. Looking at her trying hard to play the perfect girlfriend, I suddenly found her as ridiculous as a monkey performing. You don't have a brother at all, right? Liu Jiming is your sugar daddy, isn't he? There was silence for a long time before she replied, let's meet again. Seeing that I didn't respond, she added, don't you want to know why I did this? I was tempted. Even if her motives were impure, Lin Xiaoxiao had given me some beautiful memories. Moreover, no one would waste the opportunity to know the truth. But based on the latest information obtained in the past few days, Liu Jiming had quite a few thugs due to the gray areas of his business. If I wanted to confront him face to face, I would only end up losing. After some consideration, I decided to meet in a lively market. When Xu Chen found out, he stuffed 2 trackers on me. It wasn't surprising considering how cautious he was, especially after we learned that Liu Jiming was not much different from a gang leader. The original plan was disrupted and reorganized, but I never expected that as soon as I got out of the car, someone hit the back of my head, and I passed out on the spot. When I woke up again, I found myself in a dark, confined room. I was left with only one piece of clothing, and everything else was taken away, including the 2 trackers Xu Chen gave me. A strong light shone on my face, forcing me to open my eyes. Against the light, I saw Liu Jiming and Lin Xiaoxiao sitting on chairs. At this moment, Lin Xiaoxiao was lying in Liu Jiming's arms, her eyes filled with passion. I frowned tightly, despite knowing that her past was all a deception. Seeing her like this, I couldn't help but feel heartbroken. The pain in my chest felt like a knife stirring, and I wasn't sure if it was for myself or for Lin Xiaoxiao. When Liu Jiming saw that I was awake, he tightened his grip on Lin Xiaoxiao's hand. Didn't expect you to have some guts. My hands and feet were tied, and I struggled to raise my head to look at him. He deliberately touched Lin Xiaoxiao's body in front of me, looking down on me with a condescending gaze. I tried hard to keep myself from losing control due to emotions. What? Is it allowed for you to play with others, but not for others to retaliate against you? You wolf in sheep's clothing who got rich by marrying into the family. In the past half-month, Jiang Wei instigated Liu Jiming's wife to divorce him. Li Yuan reported Liu Jiming's company to the tax authorities, and Xu Chen, through his uncle, dug out various shady dealings of Liu Jiming. As for why I called him a wolf in sheep's clothing, it was because he started off by relying on the woman, and once he became prosperous, he disregarded her. If it weren't for the entanglement of interests, Liu Jiming would have kicked his original wife away long ago. Because of the serious nature of the reported incidents, many police officers had started investigating. Presumably, Liu Jiming hadn't had a good time lately. Unexpectedly, this sentence angered him. He grabbed a bottle from the ground and smashed it towards my head. In an instant, the bottle shattered, and debris flew everywhere. I felt my head heavy, and a hot stream flowed down from my head. I shook myself hard to keep myself barely conscious. Liu Jiming's face turned dark, and Lin Xiaoxiao, who was standing by, was obviously frightened. Suddenly, a sly and triumphant expression appeared on Liu Jiming's face. Leaning against the sofa, he said to Lin Xiaoxiao in a contentious tone, Go to his side. Lin Xiaoxiao's behavior seemed strange. Although she resisted when she heard these words and even lowered her head unwillingly, her body instinctively moved towards Liu Jiming. Seeing her like this, Liu Jiming seemed a little impatient. Reaching out to pull her into his arms, he pinched her chin and put a pill into her mouth. When I looked at Lin Xiaoxiao again, her eyes were empty, devoid of any spirit. It seemed like everything had been clarified. Looking back at the daily interactions between Lin Xiaoxiao and me, it was described as gentle, but it felt more like a soulless puppet, manipulated by others. Liu Jiming caught the hint of pity in my eyes, grabbed Lin Xiaoxiao's hair, and brought her to my face, his tone dripping with sarcasm. What? Feeling sorry now? If you had been proactive once in the past 3 years, you could have noticed the problems. Who would have known you were an idiot? Requiring me to personally come down and act with you. I suppressed my emotions, my tone icy. After all, not everyone is as despicable as you. He seemed unaffected by my words. I'm despicable. Wrong. This is the law of the jungle, where the strong enjoy the world first. Weaklings like you will kneel before me like a dog. Grabbing Lin Xiaoxiao's hair, he forced her towards me. If nothing happened between you two, it must be your regret, right? It's okay. I'm generous. I won't mind. And you've investigated. Lin Xiaoxiao, who followed me at 14, was the most obedient one. I couldn't suppress my anger anymore and struggled frantically, but bound by ropes. I couldn't move an inch, only able to tear and scream like a trapped animal. Liu Jiming seemed to finally see the scene he wanted, his triumphant expression evident, pressing Lin Xiaoxiao's head. Kiss him. Lin Xiaoxiao hesitated due to pain, but her eyes remained empty as she looked at me. She tentatively leaned forward, and her cold lips touched my face. She had kissed me before when we were in a relationship, but then it felt warm, stirring my heartstrings. Now, the pain seemed to numb my nerves, and I could only feel the chill all over my body. Seeing me no longer struggling, Liu Jiming burst into laughter. It's okay, you're inexperienced. Let me teach you. As he spoke, he reached into Lin Xiaoxiao's clothes. People always let their guard down when they think they have the upper hand. When Liu Jiming planned to gradually break my psychological defense, I used the broken glass scattered at my feet to cut through the ropes binding me, then rushed towards Liu Jiming. Because of regular exercise, my muscles were not weak, and with a sudden attack, I immediately pushed Liu Jiming to the ground, the glass in my hand piercing his arm. Liu Jiming winced in pain and kicked me. Brat, watch how I'll kill you today. I was kicked away, sliding on my back on the ground, the glass cutting several gashes. But I didn't feel any pain, only my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. Taking a deep breath, I gripped the glass tighter in my hand. Ignoring the blood on my hand, I charged at him again. As Liu Jiming got up from the ground, he pulled out a dagger from the side, his eyes still contemptuous. I hated that look of his. Who did he think he was? Feeling superior because of his evil deeds? With that in mind, I slashed at his face with the glass. Perhaps because of my speed, Liu Jiming's face was cut, but when he blocked with the dagger, a large piece of the glass broke off. Now there was anger in Liu Jiming's eyes. You bastard! I shouldn't have kept you alive. Then Liu Jiming went crazy, attacking relentlessly. I dodged a few times, but my strength gradually waned. The madness in Liu Jiming's eyes became more apparent, and the dagger in his hand danced faster. Finally, I made up my mind, rushed at the dagger, and slashed his arm while quickly crouching down, thrusting the broken glass into his groin. The glass was already short, but sharp, and the wounded cut bled profusely. Taking advantage of his reaction, I quickly backed away. At that moment, the tightly locked door was finally opened. When they found out about Liu Jiming's grey industry, we immediately chose to call the police, not for anything else, but to seek justice for those girls who were trafficked under the guise of poverty assistance by Liu Jiming. 10 years ago, after Liu Jiming married into wealth, he felt that the money earned from ordinary work was not enough to satisfy his inflated ego. So, he used the money to establish a special poverty assistance fund, selecting girls with beautiful faces from the information collected about impoverished students for special assistance. The so-called special assistance was to take these underage girls to various business clubs under the guise of poverty alleviation. No one could describe the blood and tears inside, but it could only be said that Liu Jiming made a fortune during those years, and the girls who followed Liu Jiming either lived like Lin Xiaoxiao, devoid of self, like puppets, or were drugged into idiocy. Some orphans were sold directly to another remote area. With the development of social media, Liu Jiming also caught the tail of the internet and opened a media company, transferring those girls who were originally in business clubs to online live broadcasts. In addition to giving me 2 trackers, Xu Chen also put a small tracker in my hair. He also applied a special liquid that could be quickly identified by police dogs. And after Xu Chen's uncle discovered a series of events involving Liu Jiming, he voluntarily squatted on Liu Jiming. When I was knocked unconscious for the first time, he promptly informed Xu Chen. With all these factors combined, when I injured Liu Jiming, Xu Chen had already led the police to this abandoned factory. The moment the door opened, Xu Chen looked at me, who was only wearing underwear, and smiled. You're quite muscular indeed. The pain all over my body seemed to erupt at that moment, and I almost passed out trying to play it cool. When I opened my eyes again, I was in the hospital with broken ribs and fractured shin bones. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 to 4 months. The news of Liu Jiming's arrest made it to the headlines. In the abandoned factory where he was captured, A small-scale pharmaceutical workshop was also discovered. The main product produced was date-rape drugs. As for Liu Jiming himself, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for various heinous crimes such as disseminating obscenities, harming minors, and trafficking in persons. In the courtroom of the first trial, I finally met Xu Chen's extremely mysterious uncle. With neat black short hair and skin almost shining white, he didn't look quite like a healthy human. He reached out his hand to greet me. "Hello, I'm Qin Li. Do you mind if I turn this story into a narrative?" I lifted my plastered leg. "Please make me look brave." His fingertips were cold, but his voice was very convincing. "Of course,